Truth is not the sole possession of any one tradition. Truth goes beyond any tradition.
Y en el fondo, digamos, lo interreligioso parece una sinfonía donde cada uno toca su propio instrumento, pero lo que sale de todos esos corazones unidos es una sinfonía.
In more and more Lutheran churches in Denmark today, you see meditation. We don't call it mindfulness, but Christfulness.
Y el conocimiento que yo siento que estoy ganando de cada uno de los presentadores es imperdible. Es una experiencia maravillosa para mí.
I've heard every day just this.
El corazón.
The heart.
El amor.
Love.
La paz.
Peace.
All of life is interconnected. This is the interconnected structure of reality. What affects one affects all. And I can't be free unless you're free.
You know, I don't read in the Gospels or even in the biblical text that Jesus asked what religion people came from when he created community with them.
Todos amamos a Dios de diferente manera, pero eso no nos hace ser diferentes, sino al contrario, somos una familia humana.
If we're willing to be authentic and honest, that really is the path for healing.
In this conference, I learned that everyone speaks about love, heart, and compassion for the better world.
So we'd like to begin with a short invocation in the name of the One who is beyond all names, yet comes by whatever name we invoke. May we be guided by Spirit this week in all of our interactions, in conversations, in our speech and gestures. May our work and prayers together this week foster genuine healing and reconciliation between the great religious and spiritual traditions of the world, and thereby contribute to peace in our community here and in the world.
For me, the purpose of the Dawn of InterSpirituality and this conference and this convening of both leaders and teachers across the spiritual and religious traditions, as well as the seekers, is to come into a place, a safe place, where we can come together and practice from our various traditions, so that everyone has a place at the table to come and learn from each other and also practice together. This is why we chose Costa Rica, to get to know our Latin American friends who are on the spiritual path.
InterEspiritualidad, me gustó mucho la palabra. Siempre hemos hablado de interreligioso, encuentros interreligiosos, pero me parece que hablar de interespiritualidad es para mí también un avance, es un término enriquecedor, ¿no? Descubrir el costado religioso del otro, pero no tanto desde lo que hace, sino desde lo que siente con respecto a su tradición frente a Dios. Y no queriendo entender que, bueno, digamos, yo puedo participar de mi propia fe sin necesidad de negar la del otro. Porque evidentemente todos los caminos, de una manera o de otra, conducen a que uno crezca en esa relación con Dios y crezca en el amor por los demás. Y bueno, son caminos diferentes que nos llevan a un mismo sitio, nos colocan en un mismo lugar como personas humanas que quieren buscar un mayor desarrollo de su vida interior y un mayor compromiso con los demás.
On spirituality, there is a common basis on which we can all meet. And the foundation, we all agree, you know, ethics, kindness, love. At the ultimate, we all agree. It's the bit in the middle where is the problem. The sadness is that our potential is completely beautiful and divine, and that we don't recognize our potential is a tragedy. Right. Because all the spiritual paths are pointing there.
Y para mí la interespiritualidad es la capacidad del femenino, que es con lo que yo trabajo. Y esa capacidad del femenino que tiene de aceptar todo, donde todo tiene lugar, donde todo tiene un espacio, donde todo puede existir. Y no hace falta que todo sea igual para poder coexistir. Entonces la interespiritualidad para mí tiene esa capacidad de permitir que todos podamos existir, que todos podamos seguir nuestro propio camino, pero encontrándonos en corazón a corazón con los demás.
Between roughly 1900 and 2100, we live in a 200-year period of history where the great spiritual and religious traditions are coming together like never before, primarily due to the airplane at first and then the internet, to now all the scriptures of all the religions are available to anyone, anywhere. The meeting between religions is so profound and so deeper and richer than it has ever been in the history of humanity. And once these meetings happen, and these new relationships develop, they will transform these traditions into the future. So we live in that very narrow and remarkable period.
I'm a child of the Holocaust. So I was born with a DNA that told me that I was always in danger. That a highly intellectual culture could turn on me, decide that I am vermin and not even human, and often without batting an eyelash, do away with me in the hundreds of thousands and in the millions. Which is simply to say that the interfaith process is not for me an intellectual engagement. It has to do with a personal process of healing and an absolute awareness of the capacities of human beings to dehumanize the other.
I understand racial discrimination. I come from South Asia. We ourselves, we discriminate among the different shades of darkness. But to feel a sense of physical danger because of a color of my skin, which I cannot change, that was a different feeling. It was a lot of fear. Anyhow, I managed to come to America. Things were fine till 9/11. Then, of course, being a Muslim was uncomfortable, for some people dangerous. But I can tell you from my fractional experiential taste that this verse in the Quran really rings true. It, as Rumi says, splashes in my heart. The Quran says when there is chronic anger, fear, helplessness, hopelessness, it's not that the eyes become blind, the hearts become blind on all sides. And when that happens, what do? This is actually a spiritual issue.
We begin our work always with two basic assumptions. One assumption is that every authentic spiritual path is an avenue to a shared universal. And when any path thinks it owns the universal, we are all in trouble. And in one way or another, that trouble will unfold violently. The other assumption is that spirituality is always inclusive. The more spiritual our consciousness, the more aware we are of our interconnectedness with each other and with all being. And we shared.
ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي
Wait, it's my turn.
Oh. Let's go again. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي.
That's how it was for the first 3 years. Yes, we do that as a joke, but it illustrates how challenging it often is to allow ourselves to open to the deep wisdom and spiritual truths of another tradition. Somehow we worry that that will dilute our own identity, that it will somehow be treasonous to the affiliation that we now experience. And so we invite ourselves to open to that risk and to allow our lives to be supported by the deep spiritual wisdom wherever and whenever it emerges.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallahu. La ilaha illallahu. Adonai hu ha-Elohim hu. Adonai hu ha-Elohim hu. It's all one and I am as I am. It's all one and I am as I am.
Thank you, folks.
The idea that the world is deeply interconnected is a spiritual statement. It's a faith statement. You know, Dr. King said, all of life is interconnected. This is the interconnected structure of reality. He actually said, this is the main thing I have to say, that all of life is caught in a mutual web in a web of mutuality. What affects one affects all. And I can't be free unless you're free.
Om Vishnurva Tripurantako Bhavatu Va Brahma Surendrothava Bhanurva Shashalakshanota Bhagavan Buddhota Siddhota Va. It's not really a prayer, it's an affirmation. And it says, the Supreme Reality and its messengers are known by various names in various traditions. But as for me, I offer my worship always to the one going by any name and belonging to any tradition, who is free from attachment and hatred, free from worldliness and delusion, who is filled with compassion towards all living beings, and who is possessed of all noble virtues. So that, to me, is the essence of religion.
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, who is all mercy and all compassion, the one beyond any conception or concept, that is, as it was said here a couple of days ago, the one who looks through me and the same one who looks through you.
Viva la familia, ay, donde quiera que voy, con más familia y más familia, llena, llena de amor. Y la verdad, yo me siento llena de amor, porque la gente me llena de amor. Y yo solo me llamo Margarita. Pero dicen que yo desbordo amor, pero realmente yo siento que mi amor no tiene comparación con el amor que la gente me da. Pero ahí vamos, somos amor.
The women's voices coming forward. We had panels and discussions and conversations with men, and we also had the conversations and discussions and the teachings from women. And then we brought them together. And so it was just a beautiful balance.
I would venture to say that almost every woman in here, because we do talk as women, have had something happen on the spiritual path that has been a pain around violation or harassment, sexual harassment, or something along those means. Oppression happens because stories are not allowed to be told. Oppression remains invisible because the truth is not allowed to come forward. And I'll quote Martin Luther King, who said, paraphrased here, that injustice and corruption will never be healed by keeping them hidden, but only by bringing it out into the light and confronting it with the power of love.
I always say, who wrote the books? The books of all religions were written from the male perspective. And so naturally, they are giving the male perspective. And in that perspective, women are always a bit of a danger. And therefore, the thing to do is to keep them down so that they don't have a voice. And so for millennia now, and most of the major religions at least, have been very busy in suppressing the feminine voice. Even while they worship the feminine, like the Virgin Mary or Kuan Yin, or, Lakshmi and Saraswati. I mean, even in Buddhism, wisdom is a feminine force. And the perfection of wisdom, the Prajnaparamita, is female. She's the mother of all the Buddhas. The Buddhas are born of wisdom, like Sophia. So it has always been understood that the feminine has this kind of special intuitive understanding, but it wasn't nurtured because they remained uneducated, and often, more deeper practices were not allowed for them. Now that's all changing. It's all changing. I mean, one of the problems, it seems to me, for women is not men, it's other women. Women, when they work together as a real team in harmony, are so powerful and have such a wonderful energy. But if they are not in harmony, then it's very, very difficult. And as I say, they, give all the authority to the males and try to keep each other down.
Somos joyas, piedras preciosas. Tenemos adentro la luz y los colores de todas las joyas. Y esas joyas dan destellos de río de oro, y somos nosotros, llenos de luz, de 1000 colores. Sin duda que también está el morado, la octava superior, del blanco, que es la unión de todos los colores. Tenemos adentro, inmersos, la luz y los colores, incrustada el habla, el canto, el poder de la palabra, la voz de la flauta, pero donde sí me rindo con todos y todas. Cada uno tiene la pirámide del conocimiento, de la esencia divina de cada una de nuestras raíces. Muchas gracias, las amo un montón.
I'm so delighted that they invited, Will and Cynthia and their associates, invited indigenous people to this conference, especially in the Americas, where the indigenous people were almost wiped out from many parts. And in other parts, there were attempts to absorb them and to dilute them into the dominant culture. Most of us in modern civilization have excelled at dividing into parts, and we forget that the parts are part of a whole. And so the indigenous people always emphasize that the whole is never broken, and the whole has to be recognized and honored.
Tukui shunguan kaibi kunung pucha hanak pachamun. Kai pachamun da tukui shunguan. Tukuyuyaiwan shunguan. Munaiwan tukui kaibi rimai imaruraiguna. Sumakya gachunja. Ukupacha samiwada yupaychan chimi hanak pachak unada tukushunguan. Agradezco al gran espíritu de la vida, Hatun Pachacama Pachacuti.
I give thanks to the great spirit of life, the one who takes care of the mother of time and space.
Tampoco tenemos la palabra sagrado.
We also don't have the word sacred in Quechua.
Todo es sagrado.
Everything is sacred.
Tampoco tenemos el concepto dividido de espiritual o material,
We also don't have this division between spiritual and material,
o tiempo y espacio, conceptos divididos.
or time and space, and these divided concepts.
Una sola palabra,
One word,
pacha.
pacha.
Es tiempo y espacio a la vez.
It's time and space together.
Imposible dividirlos.
It's impossible to divide them.
Este es el momento, el tiempo que estamos ahora conversando.
This is the moment that we are here together speaking,
Y este es el lugar.
and this is the place.
¿Alguien puede dividir?
Can somebody divide those?
Ustedes saben la historia que hemos vivido los indígenas en estas tierras.
You all know the history of the indigenous people, of how we have lived in these lands here,
Deshumanizándonos.
making us inhuman, inhumanizing us.
Y ahora es tiempo de humanizarnos cada vez más.
And now it is the time to humanize us, each time a little bit more.
Creo que nosotros hemos acuñado, si se quiere, una metodología de trabajo. Primero, saber que cada uno, intervenir en el diálogo interreligioso no es perder la propia identidad, sino todo lo contrario, ¿no? Yo tengo mi identidad religiosa, no tengo por qué perderla. En segundo lugar, saber que la identidad religiosa del otro me enriquece y eso lo hacemos a título informativo, es decir, cuando hablamos de religión de los otros es para informar qué está pasando, cómo se vive tal cosa o tal misterio. Compartimos nuestras celebraciones y sobre todo detectamos zonas donde todos entendemos de qué estamos hablando, la trascendencia, la oración, la caridad para con el prójimo, el ayuno, o sea, son, digamos, cosas que tienen que ver con nuestras respectivas tradiciones que todos entendemos de qué se trata, ¿no? Y a qué aspiro es que, bueno, que realmente no sean las religiones más un motivo de conflicto, sino que sean realmente para lo que Dios nos ha dejado diferentes tradiciones, que es, bueno, motivo para estar unidos o motivo para vivir en paz y no para pelear.
I do hope that everybody recognizes the official dress of the interfaith clergy. We planned this very carefully.
Uno de los puntos más lindos de nuestro trabajo en común es un poco esto. Tenemos la posibilidad, como la tienen ustedes dos, de reírnos, de ser también críticos de nuestras cerrazones comunitarias. Y a veces creo que puedo también inferir que les pasa a ellos, pero nuestro gran enemigo, que no es solo de las tradiciones religiosas, es el fundamentalismo, ¿no? Cuando alguien se encierra en una actitud fundamentalista y dice lo mío es lo único, y creo que eso tiene que ver mucho con una actitud psicológica de inseguridad.
The answer emerges when enough of us awaken, whether we're leaders or participants is irrelevant. When enough of us awaken to the common life we share.
You know, I would say frankly that peace will not come through leaders or clerics holding hands and coming together. That might help. Real peace will come when at the grassroots level, people like you and me are holding hands and saying, we are ready for peace.
So a big round of applause to the interfaith amigos of the Americas.
Let's have interfaith amigos and amigas from different religions spread all over the world. That would be our first message, I thought, as we connect to the interfaith amigos of the Americas. And secondly, we realize that if we are the only ones doing this, it's not working. So we wanted to join hands, join forces with the Interfaith Amigos of the Americas and really articulate the message that you don't have to be clerics, you don't have to be professionals. As lay people, you can become interfaith amigos and amigas from different religions and really become friends. That's a very important part. Then help one another to evolve into the fullness of your being, become better human beings, and then collaborate in joint projects. We find, as I've been repeating again and again, this is the best way to really foster and spread peace all over the world.
Entonces yo creo que en un futuro las religiones solo van a ser tradiciones que nos hacen felices vivirlas y como queramos vivirlas. Pero la espiritualidad va a ser reconocer que nos une el amor.
I think hearing the voice of the youth was fascinating. I haven't been faced with the clear articulations and opinions of people average age 25 probably, answering some quite challenging questions, and how that kind of maturity that I didn't have at that age is coming earlier to some of the younger generation.
What a blessing. What a blessing to have an opportunity to come here and meet like-minded youth and be able to have conversations together and hold space together. And so what I feel like I needed was someone like Lowell who brought me here, who trusted me, who believed in me and wanted me to experience this, to hold space here. And I implore you, find a young person. Find a young person. We are here.
One of the generational differences, and I see it more and more as I go around and talk to people, and I hear it more and more from those that work with younger people, my mentors all rooted themselves in a tradition and then had the experience of reaching out to other traditions from that standpoint. And there were certain difficulties, certain questions with that, like how do I maintain my identity as a Christian, as a Buddhist, as a Hindu, if I don't just learn about other traditions, but actually imbibe them deeply, imbibe their experiences deeply. And they learned how to do that work. And so there's new questions. It's not the same questions I think that my generation is undergoing, and that brings up new difficulties and new possibilities. How do we take this impulse, this new thing that's being formed, but be able to really go deep, right? Be able to really commit and have some of the safeties and the guidance that traditional wisdom traditions have provided.
In almost every major world, almost every major world religion, there has been this profound betrayal of the genuine spiritual impulse. Particularly with gender and sexuality. The heart of the tradition is about guiding and protecting and inspiring us on our journey home. And so to hold that at the same time as acknowledging the betrayal creates the space where new life can be breathed into the different traditions so that they don't have to, I mean, in one form they do have to die, but they get to rise again.
Bueno, yo he experimentado cosas nuevas que no había hecho nunca, como animarme a hacer yoga a la mañana temprano. Y bueno, poder compartir la Eucaristía, la misa, que para nosotros es un momento sagrado e importante, con gente de otras tradiciones que también ha querido venir a participar. Y en cada conferencia, o en cada encuentro, o en cada almuerzo, o en cada cena, tener la oportunidad de conversar con alguien, a pesar de la dificultad del idioma. Y bueno, ver que existe un espíritu común que nos guía a todos, que es justamente este deseo de conservar nuestras propias tradiciones, pero también enriquecernos de las tradiciones de los otros y no sentir que porque uno se junte a rezar con alguien que es budista o hindú está perdiendo algo de sus costumbres, sino que al revés, está como aprendiendo de lo que puede ser útil de esa sabiduría ancestral. Eso me parece que es una parte importante si queremos extender este trabajo dentro de la sinceridad. El hecho de querer saber que hay ciertos núcleos duros de nuestras tradiciones que no son compatibles y por lo tanto allí es una zona donde uno tiene que descansarse y entrar con profundo respeto, porque justamente me parece que el miedo que tiene mucha gente de entrar en esto es pensar que va a licuar su propia tradición con la tradición de los otros. Y yo creo que es importante mantener esos, como, digamos, poder rezar en un espacio común, pero sin que nadie me obligue a rezar como yo no rezo, porque yo le rezo a Jesús y no pretendo que los demás le recen a Jesús porque no creen en Él.
Yo amo a Jesús. Yo lo siento como mi guía, no solamente el Hijo de Dios como uno lo ve como el catolicismo, sino mi guía personal. Para mí es lo que me habla en mi corazón. Entonces, cuando yo fui al sufismo, este tipo de sufismo, esta línea de sufismo, no pidió que yo sea musulmana o que deje mi religión. Entonces yo no sentí que había traicionado nada, porque yo seguía siendo lo que yo era, solamente que amplié. Lo que me permitió esa línea de sufismo fue el contacto místico, el poder buscar dentro de mi corazón la verdad que yo estaba necesitando. En realidad me siento mejor católica ahora que antes.
Para mí fue un momento muy hermoso, porque les conté a todos que me dio mucha vergüenza empezar el baile y cuando estaba al final tuve mucha paz. Uno que está acostumbrado a vivir con una máscara por el oficio y ser un hombre serio. La abuela Margarita y todos los que estuvieron allí, los cantantes y los danzantes, hicieron que todo desapareciera y estuviera la Madre Tierra, el Sol y la Luna.
Well, we merged two groups, the one on climate change and the other one on the Parliament of World Religions. And I think we agreed quite quickly that there would be a very strong message that we as people of faith from these different traditions could say that it is really about time that we speak up to follow the right path for the creation of the universe, our beautiful Mother Earth. We also realized that we had a very good message from this gathering with the interfaith amigos from the Americas, from South America and North America. And there would be something very powerful in having them making a common presentation or a panel together in the plenary session, like with thousands of people. I think we all felt very strong the power of the interfaith amigos, just in this small circle, so it would be extremely beautiful to send a message to the crowds.
We're going to talk about a little bit about going home and leaving this wonderful, safe, peaceful environment as we move back out in the world again.
When we first came into this conference, people didn't know each other. It was kind of a shyness with our engagement, a hello, buenos dias, how are you doing? But it was limited even in our conversations and our language with each other. By the last day, there was such a deep friendship that everyone had bonded and embracing and hugging and the light coming from everyone's hearts. Where does this go from here? I think it's just happening, that people have left this conference in Costa Rica and are moving it out into their own communities. So my hope is for the future and where we take this conference, that we keep engaging the young people and that wisdom from both, from the wisdom of the elder, the wisdom from the youth, can come into a place to really flourish in the new civilization that we so desperately need in this world.
Golden and all your hugs. I would say it was impressive how much people were very open. I mean, Muslims going to Christian or Jewish dialogues and Hindus going to Christian dialogues and everybody mixing up. Truth is not the sole possession of any one tradition. That truth goes beyond any tradition. We take a facet, like a diamond, many facets. It's all the same diamond.
I hope lots more people come to know about this conference, to have that deep love for one another's religion and respect for one another's religion.
A gathering like this gives energy to all of us to go back into our own spheres. It gives us something that we can then work from. And so this sort of preaching to the choir also has its importance. You get a better choir.
I feel like the people that I have met here express a possibility of peace that allows me in this time of polarization and struggle to finally feel hope.
I started to have this sense of like unity where in the same way that that hand that I was holding could have been my hand, that person could have been me, and vice versa. And it was just a perfect physical depiction of some of the things that we learned here, that spirituality can be practiced in many different ways, but at the end of the day, it's all one, it's all together. Yeah.
Y que ustedes hayan venido a Centroamérica es como a tocar el corazón nuestro, a decir, vamos a poner una pequeña venda, vamos a tratar de sanar la herida.
Y me voy tan llena de amor que voy para compartir con mi gente allá en México y que ellos también sientan este amor que sentimos todos aquí.
Hacen que mi alma tiemble de amor. Son unos ojos tan bellos, bellos. Ojos más lindos no he visto yo.